The following program is sponsored by The Greek, Ely's Radio Shack dealer at 570 Altman in downtown Ely, and brought to you as a public service by Georgetown Media in Ely, Nevada. White Pine County Veterans Day program, November 11th, 2020.
That's Andre Paez.
God, we come to you for help and light. Grant that we may follow this meeting to serve you and find you in peace, wisdom, and strength. Grant that we may serve you in truth and build our work on good foundation for justice and charity. Be is right and be our guide and counselor as we work for the good of our comrades and community, for the state of our beloved land.
Would you please join the community choir in the singing of the Star Spangled Banner? Thank you all very much. And now, our first presenter is the greetings from the Ely City Mayor, Nathan Robertson.
Thank you. Happy Veterans Day. This book makes it a little difficult, but here we go. I'm grateful that our country has these holidays of remembrance. They give us an opportunity to reflect, and in reflecting they offer perspective. Perspective that is needed now probably more so than at other recent Veterans Days. In the shadow of the heated rhetoric of the past several months, the demonization of our fellow citizens for their political views, the accusation and rancor that we've seen so much of, how well we would do to take time to remember that Republicans as well as Democrats have died in the service of our country, that white, black, Asian, and Native have proudly worn the uniform of our fighting men and women, that Muslim and Christian and members of a great many different faiths have honorably served in defending our right to worship God according to the dictates of our own conscience. The freedoms that we enjoy are not given, but must be continually struggled for and affirmed by each successive generation. These freedoms, our right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, are honored and strengthened and passed down to us for safekeeping by the sacrifices of these men and women that we honor here today. We in turn uphold them by serving in our homes and communities. Some of those local heroes that I think deserve some special recognition this year are the valiant and selfless election officials and poll workers who safeguard one of the most sacred rights of our republic, the manifestation of the people's will and voice through the election process. Our country has held elections in times of pandemic, world strife, and even civil war. It is that important. I, as I'm sure all of you who are gathered here today are, am eternally grateful to those who willingly answered the call and gave their lives that this nation might live, that government of the people, by the people, and for the people has not and shall not perish from this earth. May we each take our civic responsibilities as seriously as these brave men and women have, and in the words of Thomas Jefferson, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor, that we might find more in common than different. Our nation was not built from the top down. Let us find healing and improvement from the bottom up. Strong communities make strong countries. On this day of reflection and in this time of turmoil, let us take time to realize that there is more that unites us than divides us. I'd like to end with some words from President Abraham Lincoln's second inaugural address. With malice towards none, with charity for all, with firmness in the right as God gives us to see the right, let us strive on to finish the work we are in, to bind up the nation's wounds, to care for him who shall have borne the battle, and for his widow and his orphan, to do all which may achieve and cherish a just and lasting peace among ourselves and with all nations. I wish us all a happy and safe Veterans Day, and God bless.
Okay, now would you all join the community choir in singing America the Beautiful along with our very, very great little band. Good morning and welcome to our annual Veterans Day. It's very nice to see this nice crowd out here today. I'm remembrance yesterday of our Marines who served proudly. Yesterday was their 245th anniversary. So the United States Marines were founded in 1793, I believe was the date. And I recall back every single year because it saddens me that we lose our World War II veterans and some of our Koreans, but mainly our World War II men. They're dying off. They're becoming hopefully never a forgotten nation or a forgotten people, but they were the ones that set the foundation for me and my fellow veterans over here, who I'm very proud of, and I appreciate the American Legion. But when we lose a World War II veteran, it touches you. They're all well into their 90s, and within the next 5 or 10 years, we'll have no more. There'll be no more. Then the Korean will be gone. And then I'll be gone. The Vietnam will be gone. We'll remember in the future the Iraq veterans. All veterans are special, and it was witnessed this past week, when we exercised our right to vote as we chose in the presidential election and the local elections. That's a right that a lot of people take for granted, but it's a right that was granted to us because of every veteran that ever served. From the Revolutionary War to today, if it wasn't for the veterans, you would not have the freedom that you have today. The freedom to fly the flag, to hold your gun, to speak, to exercise your right to vote. It's an opportunity that was afforded us, and I am proud that 52 years ago, I was drafted. I saw my fellow men were all about the same age, but it doesn't seem like that long ago. It's a half a century since I was called to duty. And at the time, it was my duty. But after I got out and I started working and raising my family, and we come to these ceremonies, it was my honor. It was their honor. We in White Pine County have lost 122 men. The White Pine 15 that we're going to be celebrating this July. The Vietnam Wall is definitely coming to Ely from July 2nd to July 4th of this coming year. We're going to have day and night, 24 hours a day, the opportunity to go up to the Broadbent Park here at the city park and look at the replica of the Vietnam Wall. I've been to Washington, I've seen the wall, but for those of you who haven't, it's a very, very emotional thing. It will be here. It will be here through the 4th of July, 24 hours a day with guard. Another thing that's coming, it was going to be done today, but the White Pine War Memorial Committee has purchased a really, really nice sign that's going to be right over there by that gazebo, honoring this park that was designated by the county commission 3 or 4 years ago as Veterans Park. Veterans means a lot of things to a lot of people. It's not just a holiday on November 11th. It's 11, 11, 11. That sticks in my mind forever. 11th month, 11th hour, 11th day. This morning I watched the president place the wreath of the unknown soldier on the tomb in Arlington Cemetery. What a special moment that was. It was pouring rain. It's a little cold on us today, but everywhere you go, we get to take this day every single year to celebrate the men and women who made this country free and who have allowed us to exercise our abilities as human beings and as free citizens to worship, to speak, to just be ourselves and enjoy the freedoms that are presented to us. So on this day, it's my privilege to honor all veterans who have gone before me and who hopefully we never have to go to war again, but who may. We're lucky. So thank you all very much. Again, join the community choir and the band with the America, My Country Jittery. Ken Cordova, Post 3 of the VFW Commander, for his Veterans Day address. Thank you all for coming today. 7 decades ago in 1950, brave Americans defended a far-off land that was under attack. For 3 years they fought what we still call the Forgotten War. We are here to remember. We are here to honor not just those brave Korean War veterans, but all who served in the U.S. military service since our country's founding. Jack Sauter served in the U.S. Navy during the Korean War. Many years later, he wrote in the American Legion magazine that he had doubts whether the outcome of the war was worth the cost of lives and the treasure. But after the war, he was greeted in his New York insurance office by a Korean immigrant. I was very young when the war started, she told him in an emotionally cracked voice. We lived on the Han River just south of Seoul. My family walked to Busan. Thank you for saving my country. Sauter said his encounter with that woman put his last doubt to rest. It was worth it. Regardless of how one feels about policies that lead to war, let there be no doubt that veterans serve with honor. They serve to make life better for others. They preserve our freedom. Not all veterans have seen war, but a common bond that they share is an oath that you take when you join the military service, in which they express their willingness to die defending this nation. Perhaps most significant is preserving our way of life are the battles that America does not have to fight, because those who wish us harm slink away in the fear of the Coast Guard cutter, the Navy aircraft carrier, the Air Force fighter squadron, Marine Corps fire team, or the Army soldier on patrol. We are excited to add a new group of people to the rank of veterans, men and women of the United States Space Force. We can be secure at home because we have a brave warriors protecting us in the air, at sea, on land, and beyond our atmosphere. In addition to foreign adversaries, many veterans have had to battle invisible threats to their mental health and well-being. More than 20 veterans a day take their own lives. Only those who experience the first-hand horrors of combat can understand why so many of these young men and women feel compelled to take such drastic and permanent measures. We must do everything possible to stop these needless deaths. If you see someone that needs help, offer your hand in friendship. Those of us gathered to observe Veterans Day here have already indicated our support. For the outstanding men and women who have served our country. Tell veterans directly that you love them, that you appreciate them, that you are grateful for their service. We are their friends, their family, their co-workers, and neighbors. It is up to us to ensure that every veteran feels that his or her service to this country is appreciated by fellow Americans. There are many tangible ways that you can acknowledge their sacrifice. But the easiest is to simply say, thank you
of what you have done for our country. If he's showing signs of unhappiness or depression, encourage him to seek help through the VA immediately. They have difficulty obtaining the benefits that they are entitled to. Let her know that there are people and there are thousands of trained service officers nationwide that will help them navigate the bureaucracy free of charge. And if that veteran has made the supreme sacrifice, remember the price that has been paid for our freedom and offer your support to the loved ones left behind. Remember how occasions like this started. On the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, November 11th, 1918, the gun stopped. It was a moment to be celebrated as the largest and deadliest war up until that time came to a merciful end. We still celebrate that moment, only today we call it Veterans Day. War is never anything to celebrate, but peace is. Peace in between these horrific wars is brought to you mainly by our veterans. The sacrifice brought forth during those wars is also made by mostly of our veterans. That does not mean others don't suffer. Civilians are often killed, and no one understands sacrifice more than our Gold Star families. We honor our fallen on Memorial Day, for the American Legion remembers them every day. Veterans Day, however, is for all who served. While many veterans are humble, there is no such thing as insignificant military service. Veterans Day is important, but the historic way of saying thanks. We should insist our elected officials produce meaningful laws and public policies that will enhance the quality of life for veterans and their families. From defeating communism, fascism, and imperialism to liberating slaves, keeping the peace during the Cold War, and battling terrorism today, if you're an employer, look extra weight to the experience and skills of the sailor turned job applicant. Veterans is a requirement. Veterans' preference should be given to jobs, but it's also smart business for the private sector as well. Despite the sacrifices that nearly all veterans made, and the horrors that some experienced, the overwhelming majority are proud to have served. In closing, I want to give you a quote from 19th century English philosopher John Stuart Mill, who summed up the necessity of this special group of people when he wrote, "War is an ugly thing, and not the ugliest of things. A decayed state of moral and patriotic feeling which thinks that nothing is worth war is much worse. A person who has nothing for which he is willing to fight is nothing which is more important than his own personal safety, is a miserable creature and has no chance of being free unless made and kept so by the exertions of better men than himself. America has been blessed throughout its history by many such men and women. Thank you for being here. God bless America. God bless our veterans.
Thank you. And now we will have a wreath laying by our VFW and American Legion auxiliary, the ladies of the Legion. And while they're presenting this, the band will play Amazing Grace. At this time, we're waiting for the bugle for taps. So I'd like to take this moment to really recognize the Cheatgrass Band. You've done a wonderful job. It's really nice to see a lot more participants. It's been great. And to you, the people who showed up for this event to honor all the veterans, you should receive a pat on the back because it's very nice. The crowd today is somber, but it's larger than we had last year. But every year, when you recognize the veterans who have served for you, it's just a great honor, and you should be recognized. I really appreciate it. I think every veteran does. These members of the Honor Guard are all veterans of different wars, mostly Vietnam, one or two from Korea, but we're just waiting for the buglers. So there we go. I'm sorry for the delay.
Sorry, I'm not one
and have a happy Veterans Day. Thank you all.
This has been a Georgetown production. George Chachis reporting.